just going to shut the shack door. Okay, Bernie, acknowledge you're just watching tonight. And Everest, yep, let us know. That's great. Michelle, okay, I'll put you on the list. You're at the bottom. Everybody's early tonight, this is good. Right, 8 o'clock. Good evening all. Welcome to the QO100 Net. Slightly different signal from me tonight. I've changed some parameters, so please let me know if there are any issues with it. It should be a slightly better picture quality with a few less nulls. News from this week, what's gone on? A couple of software releases out. Thanks, Mike. A couple of software releases out, including a version of Ryde that works with a new version of Rob's QuickTune. Rob's done a great job with QuickTune, and Tim has done a great job with Ryde as well. So the two will now work together, which makes keeping an eye on everybody on the satellite a lot easier. Mike and I, though, are run out of receivers. It'll only tune 4 receivers, and I can certainly end up with 7 if I work hard. There will be another Portstone release in a couple of days, but that's just a tie up, really. So that's all the news from this end. Let's put it round to Noel. Will be first. The order will be G8 GTZ, G7 NTG, G4 FKK, G7 JTT, G0 MJW, G8 HKN, GI4 DOH, HB9 DUG, and I'll take any more on the end of the list if you come up on the chat. So round to Noel, G8 GTZ and the group G8 GKQ.
We have video. Right, well, let's see how long this lasts. I think there's quite a long delay on it. But yes and yes. Good evening, everybody. I'll speak very quickly. Good to see you all, or to see so many people on the net. What's been happening here? Well, I've actually spent a long time trying to work out what's going on with the system and not to add too much joy. Still don't quite know what it is. I updated FFmpeg, updated the NVIDIA graphics cards, drivers, I even tried OBS. He will only say this twice. Am I saying things twice? Am I? Shouldn't be. But it's still flaky. Really don't know what the issue is. I want to look at the camera. So not sure quite what's happening there. The bench on other things been a bit more successful. So there's the shack clock, just to show it's still there. The exciting incident this week was that the shack bench power supply blew up, and I was actually upstairs at the time, and I came downstairs to a very funny smell and a shack full of smoke and a very, very, very hot variable power supply. So quick purchase from Amazon, and quick purchase from Amazon, and lo and behold, new shack power supply. So that was the exciting thing. It was exciting as well. Overload a bit, or yes, okay. Other things on the bench are, I think I talked about the high power amplifier that runs on 29, 50, 70 and 2 meters last week. So it's on the far side of the heatsink there. Been looking at 50 meg receivers. There's a filter box there. Still haven't tamed that that UHF amplifier, which is on this side of the heatsink. That's kind of work ongoing, trying to decide what the philosophy or strategy is going to be for 77's PA. The box, that was a nice surprise. This was a rally find. The box behind the heatsink there, I bought it at a rally. I remember I paid £6 for it. I think it was at a Reading rally a year and a half ago, and I paid £6 for it out of a whole load of stuff. And it turns out it said 10 megahertz on it. I never took it to pieces. It turns out that there's a double ovened crystal TCXO in there, and it's very, very nice, very, very nice. So a very useful 10 meg source. Yes, that is a Gigatech. That is a Gigatech heatsink, a true Gigatech heatsink. But it's useful because you can mount amplifiers. I'm actually going to mount the 23 SAMS amp on this side as well as the 70 SAMS amp. So that'll be 3 amps on the same heatsink, and it's got a tunnel with the fan blowing air through. And don't know if Bernie's watching tonight, but I'm very disappointed if he isn't, because that's actually the Finningley in the box, in the painted box. So you really ought to see that. So there we go. 47 gig gear next to it. Talked about that last week. JTT will be interested to know. I spent a significant number of hours trying to resurrect a certain 10 gigs transfer again this week. I've actually now got it working reliably on transmit, but the receive is deaf. The reason why is I really want to use that on 47 gig IF, because the LO really needs to be above 39. So it needs to be below 39. So looking to use 10 gigs as an IF, and that's probably about it. There's enough to be going on with. I've got a video to show next time round, if it's still all working. Oh good, in that case. Look at that, Bernie, that's exciting, isn't it? Black paint as well. We were very concerned that I was never going to get it into a box, so there it is. Right, round to Jim next. I'm very pleased that it's still working. As I say, I've got a video to show next time round, so we'll do that then. Anyway, round to Jim, and I need to watch the latency, so I'm going to turn the audio on. Gee, 7NTG to take it, G, HETZ and the BATC Net.
Yeah, just wait for this to light up and that's it. Thank you, Noel. Very interesting jobs going on there. As you can probably see, I've been extremely busy over the last week in remodelling my shack. It was just a bare side of the room last week. Now it's got a few things in it and it's mostly up and running and working very, very nicely. So that's really taken me a lot of work. There's some kitchen units down the bottom and a very nice fire door as the worktop, which is wide enough to take all those test equipment and still leave room at the front to put the equipment you're going to test, which is always a problem with benches. And that fire door was donated to me by a good friend of mine, and a G7 HPE, Malcolm, who turned up with his van and helped me up the stairs, which was very nice. And so that, I've been very busy doing that. I've also been very busy with the last 2 hours putting together a Mini Tuner S, which for my good friend Sugar Victor 8 Romeo Victor, and doing some testing on that. It's a bit of a shoehorning job because there are 4 LEDs on the front, and of course they foul the PCB, so you have to file one side off the LED to get them to fit in the hole. But it does work very nicely. I haven't loaded the full software, I've just tested it with the version 9 software, so I shall get it sent off to Dionysius and he can test it, the rest of it. But it all works very nicely, it's good. So I'm very pleased with that. So other than that, I've been doing lots of carpentry and metal work, and so nothing else really to say. So I shall then just pass it on to who's next. Oh, it's Martin. So G4 FKK from G7NTG, and catch you all next time around.
Oh, good. It did work. G4FKK. Yes, thank you, Jim. And the shack looks absolutely amazing, fabulous. And very good evening to everybody. Let's go back there. And yeah, excuse the we probably can't see. It probably doesn't look any worse than usual, the shack here, but it's absolute chaos at the moment. My HF rig packed up early last week, and luckily I found someone with the spare part I need for it. In fact, Martin Lynch's workshop, so he's just sent me an email saying the spare part is ready to come, so that's good. Been doing some tests with Alan G8TKQ on terrestrial DVB-S. He's just bought himself the bits to make Portsdown 4, so could be an opportunity, Dave, for some DVB-T testing on 2 meters and 4 meters, because he only lives about a mile from me, so I should be able to see him and vice versa. The new features, Dave, the quick tune is just brilliant, isn't it? It's an absolute revelation, and it makes it a joy when someone pops up miles away. You just click on him and there he is. I like the new power supply, Noel. I fairly recently bought this one, this little one here. It's called a Mini Leaf, and it was very cheap. I think from AliExpress or one of those Alibaba type places, but it's actually really useful. It goes from 0 to 60 volts. It says it will do 5 amps, and it's got the usual sort of current limiting and the rest of it. So and it was really quite cheap, so quite pleased with that. I've been playing around with this device here as well. This is an ESP camera, one of those little sort of like an Arduino board with a built-in camera. And I don't actually know if this is going to work. Let's just try it. I'm going to try it out on you. You have to do that, and then you have to refresh. And will it? Oh, look at that. That go across it from time to time. Anyway, it's not working as well as it was earlier. Right, so I'll won't drone on anymore. I think Gareth won't be on today because it's his wife's birthday. So if you're wondering where Gareth is, that's where he is. So round to you, John, G7JTT, G4FKK.
Good. I think I've got sound, but just check. Yep. Right. So, evening everyone. I haven't got that much to say really. It's been a busy week work-wise, so I've not done very much with respect to radio. So I was looking around for things to show, but I can't really think of very much. But I've got loads of power supplies which I can show people later on, which I've got from various places, like eBay, that are very, very cheap and really rather good for what they are. The one thing that did arrive this week is this, which is a Pi Pico. And yes, Colin, there are indeed two of them, along with an OLED display. So I'm looking forward to running the ports down 4 on this, but possibly it won't work. I don't know. We will have to see. Anyway, let's go back to me. I just noticed I might have had a bit of picture issues. Sorry if that's the case. It depends on the receiver, I think. What else? I don't think there's very much else to say really. So I'll wait for the next over and maybe say a little bit more at that point about what various things we've been doing with DVB-T. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to show you actually, which was the latest stuff from Rob. But unfortunately, there ain't very much happening at the moment. So I can click on things and get more than one picture up here. But there's only 2 signals there. But I have been running out of slots. So this particular version of Rob's Scan and Tune is receiving, I think, controlling up to 4 receivers. So the Winter Hill has 4. Then there's the normal sort of mini tuner, and then there's the Ryde. Well, the Ryde is currently receiving the net, so I'm not going to get it to tune that. But that's no, I've got a problem there. I think you don't normally want to watch 6 individual signals in one go. So without further ado, I think it goes over to, is it Roger, G8HKN. G0MJW. I'll just put up the usual test card. Sorry, Martin. Sorry, Martin.
Audio test. Audio test. Right, good evening all. Oh, plenty of audio. I better keep a bit quiet on that. Yeah, I've not been on for a few weeks, so I thought I'd better come on and see and be seen. It's going to be a short over because I haven't got too much to say, except Happy New Year. And there's no projects, there's no construction, and my audio is very going into the red. I'm going to have to turn that down or sit further back. I think that's better. The major thing I've been doing this end is changing from 4x3 to 16x9. It's taken me 2 days to resize and reposition everything, and just to save you from a very big picture of me, I've decided to squash it back down to almost 4x3 anyway, but gives me more room on the other side to put different things on, and gives me a few options for picture-in-picture, etc. The experiments on 25 kilosymbols have been very interesting. some of the pictures on there have actually been better than people using 125. Not quite sure why, but maybe I was comparing still pictures, by the way, not movement. That complicates matters, obviously. I've got no use for DVB-T at the moment, but sometime in the future, when everybody's done all the testing for me and the NIMs are available, you never know. And QuickTune, I tried QuickTune once before on the mini tuner, but as I haven't got a Ryde, I'm not sure if this new one will work on the mini tuner. But I may give that a try, because it's hard work with the mouse chasing stations, and just as you tune them in they disappear. Somewhat annoying. Couple of reports. Noel, your sound was very distorted. Everybody's signals is good tonight, so I don't know what the problem is with the weather, unless it hasn't reached the southeast. But I'm 6.2, everybody else has been around 6.97, so not sure what the problem there is. The only other thing for John JTT, if you ever come back to Orpington, you will notice that the gasometers have all gone. It took a while because they were covered in microwave aerials, had to be removed, and then the gasometers were dismantled. So it's quite a bit of open sky down there on Seven Oaks Way. I think that's all for now. I will make a few notes of people's transmissions and mention them next time round. I'm going to pass it over to Richard GIA for DOH in a moment. But just to let him know that the last 2 weeks on the net, his lip sync was really, really bad, and nobody told him. So I'm hoping that it's going to be all right tonight, Richard. I'll put up the test card. It'll just take me a couple of seconds because I have to get rid of a couple of things on the screen before I can find the test card. Oh, that will do nicely. Right, after the test card
I think that should be me. Good evening all, and thanks Roger for the comments there on the lip sync. Nothing should have changed tonight from the previous couple of weeks, so if my lip sync is out, was out then, it's probably out now, so bear with me on that, guys. It's not something I have thought about or looked into, so I'll record myself discreetly at some stage, and indeed I think I've got VLC running at the moment. I can probably record that straight away. I'll do that, and I'll take a look and see if I can get to the bottom of it. So it's a nice neat shelf behind you there, Roger, and also Jim, NTG, as Martin commented, everything was very neat in the background. I'm not taking any chances and keeping the camera close up and pointing at the window here at the moment. Someday I will tidy up things here, and the HF station on the far side of the room, there's a nice little neat bit around the middle, round where the Morse key and the keyboard are, and that's free and usable, but the rest of it is things piled on top of each other. So something for the future. Last week I mentioned in the show and tell that I was working on a 23 centimeter transverter. It's one of the W1GHZ ones that I got a long time ago when I ordered the 13 centimeter transverter board, and for that matter the 10 gigahertz board at the same time. As the shipping cost was so much, it was worth getting the boards whether I was likely to use them or not. And that's all been assembled and is all working. And if I can transition, it's now in a little box. I haven't quite sorted out the local oscillator. I've got an ADF 4350 in there, and I've had a few problems. I used the BATC PCB sitting directly on top of the RF generator board with a PIC at this moment in time, only programmed for the one local oscillator frequency 1152, I think, but the oscillator on it wasn't overly stable, and while I did have a couple of things in the pipeline, I did put on it a Connor Winfield 27 megahertz oscillator. I got two of them quite a long time ago, and one was fitted into an LMB to try and stabilize it, but I was never happy with that. And in this configuration on the board, when you blow on it, the frequency shifts way across the band. So for some reason, temperature compensated oscillator was not doing the job. I did buy somebody mentioned on the microwave group a few weeks ago, or I think even before Christmas, about this 10 megahertz temperature compensated oscillator from China for about a $5 or so, and I ordered one on spec and showing it in its breadboard configuration, and that is extremely stable. Maybe talk about a bit about that and how I know it's on frequency on the next round if we go with that. But that's I think. Oh yes, the other thing is I ordered a 14 element 23 centimeter Yagi from Germany, and it has arrived. I can hear the GB3 NGI beacon from here with just holding the aerial in my hand indoors, so that's good. That's a great reference point for anything that I might want to do in the future now that I can receive the beacon. And the only thing I was going to comment on, Martin, with your variable power supply is I've tended to adopt for a 12 volt supply for everything, and either buck converters or analog regulators on a per item basis to do that. So I've never actually owned the variable power supply apart from the one that's doing the 28 volts to the PA here. So that's about it from me on this over. I'll try and find a test card back to this is a 16 by 9 test card, and pass it over to Michelle, HP9 DUG. This is GI4 DOH with the group.
Un, deux, trois. Okay, so sound is fine. Good evening to everybody. Very nice to hear you again. I still have a problem because I hear myself, which make difficult to talk. Okay, so I'm very pleased to be back with you tonight, to see you and hear you. And it seems that last time everybody was showing his clock. This is mine. Also, the time is not right because there's no battery on it. Anyway, so today what I can show you is that I am receiving your transmission on the channel 14 through the ports down 4, which is here, with long bind,
with Longmind, and then I feed the UDP output to OBS with the incrustation on my image. Basically this week I've done mainly a little bit of work on Linux. I received from the team at NVIDIA. I'm on the developer side, but I'm not a developer, but I received the message about what they are doing, and they've released a new SDK for the Jetson Nano. So I took mine out from my rack here, and I've reloaded the new SK kit and reinstalled GNU Radio, FFmpeg, but a special version which supports the encoder and decoder of the Jetson Nano. Okay, and basically it works nicely, and I've also reloaded the driver for the Lime, and of course I'm using also the Etus boxes which I have. So for the next people, I've one question regarding Longmind on the Poston 4. I'm trying to use it in our HP9 TV repeaters, but the issue is that we have multi-program on the stream, and I just decode the first one, which is the test card of the relay, so it's not very interesting. So I was thinking and asking if that in the future possible to have an option that we can let's say maybe give the program number to show the correct program, or the PIDs. Of course it works when I do UDP to VLC, and VLC of course, or with the TS reader I can extract the correct program. So I will be interested to see, Dave, if you are thinking about that for also your relay maybe in UK. And the second point is regarding the BATC streamer. If you have some news regarding the future protocol, I will be of course very interested. Okay, that's it for me for this first round, and I will pass over to G0 NZOA if I have recorded correctly.
Okay, and up we go. Ooh, naughty. Couple of dB over. Oh well. Let's just reset the ports down and see what I'm getting as a receive as an MER. Oh, 10.6, 10.7, that's okay. And by the look of it, I'm in frame as well. So I'll just take these off because I'm talking to myself. Struggling to hear people still because I've just got the non-amplified headphones straight into the audio jack on the side of the ports down. So there's been a bit of this trying to hear some of the people with lower audio. So those people who are slightly overdriving the audio and slightly clipped, good for me, I could hear you. I think we've got a bit of cable. Yeah, that's the mini tune cable. It's all a bit rat's nest here at the moment. Not a great deal happened. Over the weekend, a bit of chainsaw action with the neighbour's tree. Between the neighbours and their neighbours, there's a big willow tree, and it's just about in the edge of the Q100 beam for me. It's all a little bit sort of, yeah, I'm trying to squeeze dishes in various places, shooting through gaps between houses. So I'm shooting across from the back of my garden, across just clipping the neighbour's willow tree, and then there's a V between a couple of roofs where the hips of the roofs are, so I'm just firing through the middle of those. But this willow tree's been slowly growing and getting closer and closer and closer to the pattern. So they wanted it knocked back and pollarded down, so we did that over the weekend. I've won 2 and a bit dB on the beacon. Great. And then it's raining, so I've lost a dB and a half tonight. So I assume that's just a wet dish, wet LMB, not sure. I think the dish should be reasonably aligned. I've got a 1.2 metre fiberglass offset, but the mount is not particularly brilliant. It's a polar mount. What do you call it? One of the mounts that's canted back at 30 odd degrees, so it follows the axis of the Earth rather than Azel. But because it's got a actuator jack on it, there's a lot of slop in the system, and if you nudge the dish, it knocks it out by a little bit, and you have to sort of pull it back down to its datum point again, and take the slop out to get the NER back up. So it's possibly it's been wobbled by the wind or something, or it might just be wet. But that's pretty much all I've done radio-wise. Gave myself a bit of extra sky. And Mike's saying I think he's after a favour. He wants he wants something doing. 10.911 MER. That's not bad. That's better than me. There again, you're on that's Paul EYT. I think you're on a 1.5 metre, aren't you? So you've got a little bit better. And it's probably, I bet your dish is dry where it's sighted as well. What am I on? Oh, it's decided to not show me the MER. Okay, well. Right, well that is about it. Otherwise I'm just waffling for the sake of it. So switch the FFmpeg decoding program. Oh, you just give it a bounce, you mean? I can give it a bounce. Stop it. Start it again. See what happens. 10.7. 10.7 MER. So well, that's not bad if the dish is wet and I have to check the alignment. I'm probably going to have to make a new mount for it. Sorry, that was probably a bit loud. My phone's. I'm using the phone still as the drive for the transport stream, and a text message just came in, so I'll probably deafen everybody. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make another mount for that dish because I just don't use it on the actuator. I spend more time rebuilding the actuator where it gets corroded up and doesn't move. So I think just a fixed Azel is all it needs really. I might see if I can get something a bit bigger. 1.5 would be nice. Yeah. Okay, right. Finish with waffle, and I shall pass it back. Next is it Dave? GKQ, I think you.
Okay. Out of the party. Of course, do have the AVO. Comes with the compulsory bent needle. You've got to have a bent needle on your AVO. I can't remember what it was on the 50 microamp range, and it just about survived. but that was many years ago. The needle got bent on it. But good to see all the Avos around, and yes, you can still get the batteries. Jules, yeah, there was a train coming through this shack there, it sounded like. Michelle, in answer to your questions, the streamer, no progress yet. Phil's been busy with work, so no announced progress. I'm sure he's working on it, but nothing out of the end. Second stream. Well, would you believe I implemented that feature today? The ability to select other programs within a transport stream. There is a development script for Portsdown the development build of Portsdown, which I published about 2 hours ago, includes that feature. But the development script is not yet tested, so there are a couple of changes in the update script that I want to test before I was going to tell anybody I'd done it. But David's up to 11 again. Yeah, get some auto on your audio, Mike. So that feature is coming soon for you. Roger, you asked about QuickTune and whether it still works with MiniTune. It certainly does. It will work with MiniTune, with Ryde, with Winter Hill as well now. So and there is a script out, I know, to make the Portsdown receiver work with it. I haven't done anything with that yet, but I'm tempted to. I've been doing a little bit of work on DVT, but just around ruggedness and getting other people working and so on. The main work in the shack is this fella. That was a router. It was in a box like this, like so. That is going to go in this, which is an old disk drive case from way back. I think I bought it 10 or 15 years ago, with an LKV373 and a two-way HDMI splitter. For streaming the net in a box there. At the moment I've just got bits all over the place for streaming the net, and that'll be a HDMI in, network out box for streaming the net. I wonder if you can send multiple video streams. No, not yet, Mike. Noel, the new Portsdown build will display on the info screen what bit rate you need to set, so that takes some of the guesswork out of it. It gives you the exact bit rate that Portsdown is expecting. Jim's shack looks very smart. I was very impressed with that. Martin, yeah, when I sent the bits off to Alan, I wondered whether you and he would be exchanging pictures, so I hope that goes well. I think that's all the questions answered. So back round to Noel. Let's roll the dice again. G8GTZ and the group G8GKQ.
Wow. Wow. Twice in a row. Can't be bad. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Right. I haven't yet appeared. I seem to have just got the test card. What's happened? Come on. Ah, there we go. Right. Obviously the topic of the day. So there's the battery we're all talking about. A B121. And it goes in... goes in one of them. So that's an original. Yeah, you're right. That's a. I think this is a Mark II. It certainly says Model 8 on the back, but it doesn't give a mark. So The only thing I tend to use it for is 10 amp DC. It's quite useful to be able to measure current. But as Jim said, also useful for tweaking things. You can actually see the meter moving without trying to work out whether the digit's going up or down. Right, you may remember this video. I showed last week, or no, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, which is what OFDM does. 8 megahertz OFDM went out mobile. It's pretty compared to 16 megahertz FM, so it's pretty interesting. So I thought I'd have a go at doing something at home with the new narrowband stuff. Now, unfortunately, for a number of reasons, it didn't turn out quite as well as I thought it would. For a start, it was pointed out to the other occupant of the house that it probably isn't legal because she didn't consider it to be essential, and considering I'd poo-pooed going out on a car ride to go and find some geocaches earlier in the week, she probably had a point. So it was all a bit rushed. I only did one run. The second thing is the camera whited out a lot. I took the C920 into the car. I'll show you a video in a minute. But essentially it didn't work particularly well. I was a bit disappointed with what it did and didn't do. So this is the video. So you've got an APRS map overall, and the rotator control, because I did it on the 77's beam, and then the picture is in the left hand corner, and the picture is in the right hand corner. It didn't work particularly well. I don't know if that was a systems RF issue or whether the narrowband OFDM we're running is not so good at multipath, because it was only 1/2 1/32 guard, but it's not very impressive. I do hope to do it again. So this is in the garden. It's not really moving very much, I know. Let's move it forward a bit. So there's the picture in the right hand corner. That's about the best pictures we get. Unfortunately, straight away after that the C920 tend to white out, so it wasn't particularly good. This is the lane at the back of our house. And it's already breaking up, which I was disappointed with. But I did get some pictures further out than this. The path I went was about 2 miles round, as you'll see. But I'm showing this really as the method, to show the methodology I used. More power. Yeah, I was only running about 5 watts, so that might have been it. Let's fast forward a bit, see if we can find some actual movement. Yeah, there was some movement, honest. The APRS refresh time was too slow as well. That was the other problem. You'll see the APRS hasn't updated. Oh, and there was another big problem. I only noted about 5 minutes into the test. This is a Land Rover Discovery, and it's got a smart key, so you just walk up to it and it does what you want to do. And halfway through it all, during the experiments, it lost the smart key, so that's a bit embarrassing. I'm not sure how to get around that. See if I can find some more here. So we're a bit further out from home now, but you can see the camera's whited out. So a lot of work to be done, but so I'm moving it forward. I'm trying to find a place where there's some movement. Yeah, as you can see, it has got potential. and you'll see the little man on the APRS map has moved. So the APRS was done via the mobile phone and was controlling the antennas from using PST rotator. So that was the plan, but there we go. It wasn't it wasn't as successful as I would have liked, but I don't think there's much more movement after that, unfortunately. So unfortunate, but anyway, worth a try. Mike said maybe power. It may be RF. I need to. What I really need, Dave, is for the UDP. So I was running ports down receive with the UDP VLC receiving the UDP, but of course the on-screen display doesn't come up, so I couldn't tell what was going RF-wise on the screen. So there you go. Right, but it sort of worked. Good. Right, and back to me. Right, there we go. That's enough from me tonight, and thanks everybody for the net, and catch you all later. Who to take it? Jim, G7NTG, G8GTZ and the BATC Net.
Yeah, G8GTZ, G7NTG. I better drop the sound. Yes, thanks for the nice compliments on the shack. It's coming along. That side of the room looks okay. It's the side that I'm looking at that's got nothing in it yet. It's a big pile of junk and tools. So that's going to be worked on as well. So there's more to do yet, but I'm pleased with that. That's my main test setup for testing all sorts of equipment, PAs, preamps, filters, all that sort of thing will be tested there. And yes, the AVO, fantastic. Use them for measuring current on all amplifiers except the very biggest, and then to the right of it there are two more meters which are just cheap and cheerful moving coil meters, which actually it's not that clear, is it? They give me the higher ratings for 20 and 30 amps because the AVO only goes up to 10, and so rather than mess about, which you can do, I just made up some simple meter boxes, and but the AVO is fabulous for tuning as well. If you're tweaking up an amplifier and you need to keep an eye on the current, it's very good. It's analog, and I haven't bent the needle on mine. It's still a straight needle, so I've done well. DVB-T, I don't think I'll be going in for that because all our local group, which comprises a very large number of people now who are transmitting and receiving TV, are all on DVB-S2 or DVB-S, and the thing is, they're all using my equipment. Well, a lot of them are anyway. I've got lots of port stands out there, lots of power supplies, lots of power amps, and the odd preamp here and there. So if we change to DVB-T, I'll end up with a big pile, a huge pile of redundant equipment. And so I think we'll stick with DVB-S for now. Yeah, bench power supply. You can see the bench power supply behind me. I turned it on to show you. That's a triple one with 5 volts on it as well. That's a nice one. Thurby Thandar, very good. So, and the one underneath it is one of my test amplifiers. That's 28 volts and 12 volts, with the blue one up above, which is the 32 volt. So that covers everything that I need at the moment. Anyway, enough from me, and it's round to Martin. G4FKK from G7NTG with the group. Good night all, 73s.
Yeah, okay, Jim, G4FKK. I've just bumped the power up a bit because Jim, the other Jim was saying he wasn't seeing too many of us this evening. So let's see if the amplifier, I don't usually run that much power, so let's see how long that lasts. Anyway, all very interesting. Everyone's been very busy in the shack, so that's good. Oh, before I forget, I've got one question for you, Dave. I was playing around with the DVB-T stuff just across the shack, and I read your email again about picking up channels from bouquets of professional broadcasters. I wonder where you find which service number it is. My younger colleagues at the BBC used to say I had no Google foo, so I could never find anything. But I found I'm at Crystal Palace here, so I think so. I get a nice thing saying it's 100%, etc. But I tried a few random channel numbers on the Ryde thing, but I couldn't actually get any pictures. So I did get some sound from Channel 0, which was a some sort of funky station. Anyway, I don't know if that information is probably is easily available, but I couldn't find it. John JTT, glad you got some days off. And yes, I've been looking at these GTX 1060 cards for my poor old desktop here. I still haven't cracked H.265 with sound. I can do the pictures and I can do the sound if I plug a microphone in, but I'd rather not do it that way. The Pi Pico looks very small, Mike, and I might have to get one of those. Nice to see you, Roger, and your nice new 16:9 pictures. Very good. And yeah, I've been watching some of the 25 killer symbol stuff as well. It's quite astonishing, really, what you can do. Richard, yeah, sorry, none of us have ever mentioned your lack of lip. But, it doesn't really hurt. Spot on. And the 23 Sem Yagi looks nice. And yeah, I think I'm pretty much standardized on 12 volts for most things, although I have got, I think we may have discussed before, different coloured Johnson power poles for 50 volts and 28 volts and various other voltages. But that little variable power supply is really, really useful. You think, oh, I need 3 volts for this, and there it is, 3 volts. It's a bit of a waste at the moment because I don't know if you noticed, but it's apart from that the glass is in the way. It's currently set to just over 18 volts, so currently it's used to get the polarization right on my LNB. Talking of which, who was having trouble? Was that you, Jules? I think I've shown this before as well, or what's left of it. I found it's the raindrops falling down the front of the the dual band patch feed in my case, which is beautifully wrapped in an Iceland carrier bag. But I cut that little chunk out of this water bottle. You probably can't see it very well. If I put it there, it might be better. Which makes a sort of, well, if it was that way around, it'd be a gutter. But I put that over the top. The diameter of this water bottle is exactly the right size to go over the MJW patch feed. And so, to my surprise, that's kept most of the water off. Although it got very wet just as the net started today. I liked your clock, Michelle. I think we've done clocks from here before. I've got a couple of, you probably see one flashing at the top. I've got my my rather lovely single-digit Nixie clock here. which spells out the time serially. So it says it's 21:04. It's 4 minutes past 9. So I'm a bit of a fan of clocks. Yeah, Avo 8s. You can't beat those for when you're fixing old vintage radios, because you need 20k per volt for most of the old test sheets. And yeah, Noel, I thought your test went rather well, actually. I was very surprised. You know, the pictures that were moving were very very non-juddery, and that looks very promising to me. I just remembered where my Avo is. I think, yeah, this is an Avo 8. This is one I bought from a rally probably 25 years ago, and it was brand new in its military case with an instruction book, and it was, I think remember it was £12.50, so that was a bargain. And Jim, yes, my my meter has got a straight needle as well, so I hope it stays that way. And is that a TS2000 I saw over your left shoulder up on one of your new shelves? They're quite a useful little rig, aren't they? Right, that's enough old droning from me. John, is John coming back? I can't remember if he said he was. Dave, let me have a quick look at the chat box. G5KK next. Oh, yes, it is a TS2000X. Yes, I've got the X with 23 sems on it. Oh, and it is JTT next. Good. Right. In that case, over to you, John. G7JTT, G4FKK.
Right, taken by surprise there, sorry. Yeah, well, not wanting to be left out. This is, I think, exactly the same one as Martin just showed us, and probably purchased at the same time, and in the same military case. So a dark olive green, complete with a manual. There's the manual. Multi-range, number 1. So yeah, very useful device for measuring current and things. Don't use it for much else, actually. Annoying. You put the leads the wrong way round and it doesn't read anything. You know, you get so used with DVMs to auto-ranging and everything else. Then there's this thing here, which is not an Avo one, it's a Philips one, but it's a current shunt, which gives you 100 millivolts for 10 amps or 100 millivolts for 31.6 amps. Which was the Chinese current and voltmeter thing. This is a 50 amp one. No, sorry, a 30 amp one. And this is the second one I built, which has got just a pair of power poles on the back. So that's that. What the other thing I was going to show you, though, seeing as it was mentioned, is this. Now, I've probably shown you this before, actually, but maybe not. So this is off eBay, they're about 20 quid. It's a buck boost converter, and if I could hold it still, it's currently plugged into 12 volts, and if I switch it on, it'll give me 15 volts, because that's what I told it to do. And then I can adjust that to whatever voltage I like. I'll do that in a minute, because I don't think I can adjust it when it's switched on. Anyway, that's that really. Yeah, those Avos were fantastic value, I think, that we got from various rallies. Adjusting the voltage here. The other thing about these power supplies is they're not just a a voltage limit, but they're also a current limit. So let's just set, I'm just going to, you can't see it here, but it's now set. Instead of being 15 volts, it's now set to this 0 volt. No, it's now set to 7 volts. It will be in a second. But they also have a current limit on them, which means you can set whatever you want as the limit, which is either useful for battery charging or possibly to stop various things emitting too much smoke when faults occur. So they're very useful things, those. Right, I don't think I have anything to add, so I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody. Good to see everyone on that again tonight. Question is now is who is next? I think it's probably still G8HKN, Roger. But I was taken by surprise by John not being there, so hopefully he's got plenty of time to get ready. Martin, if you could just turn down MJW.
One, two. Right, back again. The good reason for using that caption was the writing looked right, as it's quite a poor copy, but there we go. Right, on the subject of avometers, my needle is straight, it's not been bent. There is a cutout button which has been used many times. It pops up and fortunately has saved the meter. I did open the backup just now and just check the battery wasn't leaking, and it's still in there in one piece. And I have looked up possibilities of getting a new battery in the past, but never got around to placing an order yet, so I will do that sometime. Although I very rarely use the high ohms range on that, but it's worth having. I used to have another meter, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, called a Taylor meter, which is very similar but a lot smaller, and it seems to have gone missing over the years, so I don't know where that went, but the Taylor meter was a favourite meter at that time. I'm keeping my voice down because I think I've got the audio gain that's still far too high. It's nice to have a bit of audio from C920 at this distance. A message to Jules if he's still watching. Yeah, you had plenty of power there. You were 2.5 dB over the beacon. And plenty to spare there. I think that's about everything. Okay, and information on the quick tune on the mini tuner. And I think that's going to be about it from me for this week. So I'll say 73s, and if I can find the test card and get rid of some of the other rubbish on the screen, I will pass it over to Richard. And just double check the call sign. It's over to Richard once I put the test card on. GI4DOH. When I cut the carrier.
Here I am, I think, yes, back in business. I can't compete, and I've forgotten to turn my audio down. But this served me well for a good many decades, and all the rest. I did use AvoH, sort of stock and trade in my days. In the mid to late 70s when I worked for ICL in Belfast. Between that and an oscilloscope, you always had one or other in your hand. I do have sort of, when I need variable power supplies, sort of tend to be lash ups. That says maximum input 27 volts AC or 40 volts DC and a maximum of 1.8 amps out, and something else. I haven't written anything on that, so that's not very good because I don't know what it actually does. I did say I would comment a little bit more on the little how do I move this thing on? The little temperature compensated oscillator, which that's what you get for not setting things up beforehand. The thing that popped up, somebody mentioned this on I think the UK microwave group, the little temperature compensated oscillator, 10 megahertz. So I got one and it worked without any issues at all, just on the breadboard. So I just mounted it on a little bit of perf board in a box with a 7805 regulator, and I did learn very quickly that it does take a little bit of current, and it's not a good idea to touch the regulator when it's not actually on a heatsink. It's now bolted onto the box, and that's not an issue. It is very stable. Within 2 minutes of switching on, it is pretty close to frequency, and after 3 minutes it has stabilized. I do have a 10 megahertz GPS disciplined reference, which is based on a circuit that appeared in Elector magazine, and it uses an Arduino and also a counter chip, and it samples over about 1100 seconds or something like that, and will make minor differences. So it is very, very, very stable, and it's sitting there to 4 decimal places of a hertz. So that's a pretty good standard, I find, for setting up other things. And just getting a 0 beat, what I tend to do is take the 100th harmonic, just set the SDR receiver on 1 gigahertz and get a beat between the two. And if you're within a couple of hertz at that, you're good enough for anything. So that gave me something to play about with during the week. And what am I doing? Just get back on stream. The other thing on 23 gigahertz now, I've got the transverter and I've got an aerial. I need a bit more power out, 10 dBm. I do have this, which Jim NTG will recognize. Just again, making sure I'm on the right camera. I've got the bits to make this 70 watt amplifier, but I'm about, I think it worked out as 23 dB short, and I don't know whether one of the Mitsubishi bricks might be the way to do that. The 18 watt bricks supposedly give you 23 dB gain with a 10 dBm input, so that would do the go-between on those. I don't know, I'll read up on it during the coming days, but there's never a dull moment. This is all new ground for me, so hopefully when we get out of lockdown I'll be able to get out there and sort of point across the Irish Sea. So that's enough for me. I'll pass it on to Michelle, HP9 DUG. I'll look at my lip sync and all the rest, try and sort that out for next week. If not, I'll come asking questions next week. So over to you, Michelle. This is GI4 DOH with the, can't find his test card, with the BATC group. Wishing you all 7 threes and a very good night.
Okay. Nothing much to add to the first turn. Just to show my face and to see the lipstick if they are synchronized. And wish you all a very nice evening, end of week, and see you next week. And looking forward for the long mind with the program option. Thank you all. I wish you a good night. Here is Hotel Bravo 9 Delta Uniform Golf, passing over to...
That'll be me then, Michelle. Config menu on the receiver. Go into the config menu and there is a channel selection in there, and you just put in the number, volume 11 plus. God, not distorting, so it must be all right. I've been looking. I found a web page with all the Freeview numbers on, and I have been looking for those after Martin since you asked. Volume 0.5. God dear, can't get it right, can I? Been looking for those service numbers since you asked, but haven't found them. I'll try and find those numbers for you and send you the link. Really impressed. We've got 41 viewers on the streamer or so, that seems to be, we seem to have a really good audience, and I'm really pleased that we're able to spread the word of what we're doing. Noel, nice video of the mobile. To get the OSD, unfortunately, you need to record the HDMI output from your Ryde or the view of the screen from your ports down. Probably the HDMI output from the Ryde is best, because with the DVB-T mode on the Ryde, the OSD stays up all the time, as it's just an experimental mode at the moment. So that's probably the one you want to give it a try on. There is no way of putting it on the stream apart from remodulating that screen output. Your Ryde won't do DVB-T. Unplug the mini tuner and plug in the knucker and just do an update, and it will do DVB-T. Simple. Yeah, we'll get on with life. Right, brilliant. Really pleased to have had such a good net tonight. Good night to you all. Thanks for coming up, and look forward to seeing you next week. G8GKQ, closing the BATC net and leaving the frequency open. Good night.